What's up, everybody? Ninth Jim here, bringing another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video. Today we're going to be talking about Conkeldurr, specifically in and out of Trick Room. We have both of them, builds for both of them. This Pokemon's really cool. It used to be really good as well. It's still really good. It's up in pretty high percentage of usage stats in VGC 2020, so that's pretty cool. This guy has access to a couple of good abilities here, two of them actually. So we have the first one being Guts, which is attacks increased by 50% whenever statused by burn, paralyze, sleep, poison, or freeze, and burns effect lowering does not apply. So we're going to flame orb with that, so we just get burned by ourselves intentionally, and then our attack is huge. And that's what it is. 1.5 times, we're going to increase 50%. We already have stab on things like drain punch. It makes our drain punches huge, and just like that, we're getting really, really good damage out of nowhere. And then our other option here is Iron Fist. This is going to be used when we're not in Trick Room so that we can use Assault Vest so we don't have to use the Flame Orb. And Iron Fist gives us 20% increase on punching moves. It's kind of like Strong Jaw, but 20% instead of the 50. So yeah, that's really it for this guy. As far as our actual weaknesses go, and since we're just mono fighting, we're just weak to the same things as normal. So flying, psychic, and fairy 2 times, which isn't that bad. Flying, psychic, and fairy. Max airstream is a pain, and dazzling gleam on something like a Togekiss is a pain. So Togekiss is a pain in general against us, but they're typically not doing a lot of damage unless we activate their weakness policy first. So we're probably okay. Alright, so we're going to take a look at his stats here, which are pretty good across the board for most things, especially since base 45 speed isn't that great, but under Trick Room it's pretty good. It still gets outsped by things like Rhyperior. If you use Hindering, you're down to 40. This is going to be, even at Hindering, it's like 50, I believe. Or, no, Hindering is going to be 45. So we still get outsped by Rhyperior. Rhyperior sweeps under us by 5. So be careful of that. But honestly, Rhyperior doesn't threaten you too much, especially without proccing their weakness policy first. So 45 is pretty good. Obviously get outsped by all the common things, but you outspeed Snorlax under that as well, I believe. So hold on, let me double check that real quick. So Snorlax uninvested, Hindering is at 31 and we're at 45, so they're actually going to outspeed us Hindering. So keep that in mind. Gigantamax Lax, although a lot of Gigantamax Lax aren't going to be Hindering, they're going to be not even min speed. Actually, I see a lot of the time they're just a little bit of speed just so that they can do everything without Trick Room as well. So keep that in mind when you're playing this guy. And then for our other stats here, we have 105 HP, 95 defense, and 65 special defense. This is pretty good bulk across the board, except for special defense. It's kind of lacking, but 105 HP and 95 defense is really good. So be careful of special attacks. So like I say, Togekiss having Air Slash, it is special. That will damage us pretty hard, so keep that in mind and kind of be afraid of that. But we have Assault Vest on our non-Trick Room build, so that's okay. That's patched up pretty well with that. And for our last stat is attack, since we don't use special attack at all. Attack is 140, which is actually really, really good. So this guy's dealing a lot of damage. He has a really good move pool, a lot of punching attacks, which is really good for his hidden ability, Iron Fist. And highlight the whole page. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and go into it a little bit. So here's for our first build. This is going to be a Trick Room build. We're using Flame Orb and Guts. Guts, like I say, 1.5 times for when you're burnt or any kind of status, but burnt is what we're going to do. It takes a least amount of damage, and it's not as annoying as something like paralysis or anything. So we're using Flame Orb. At the end of the turn, you burn. So the first turn, you're not burned, so you do something like Protect a lot of the time, and then sometimes you just like Mach Punch or something while you're setting up Trick Room, and then you get burnt at the end of the turn. And then you have Trick Room, Flame Orb, Guts. Very, very powerful Conkeldurr coming in next turn. Hitting pretty early because 45 speed, like I said, with uninvested Hindering. So, yeah, we're going to talk about his moveset here. So first off, we have Drain Punch, Mach Punch, Fire Punch, and Protect. This can be whatever coverage move you need. This can be Thunder Punch. This could be Ice Punch. This could be a whole array of attacks. We have a bunch here too. Rock Slide, Poison Jab, Brick Break, Close Combat. A lot of good stuff. We have Stone Edge potentially as well, although I like Rock Slide over Stone Edge usually. This Pokemon even gets Wide Guard, which is pretty cool. Wide Guard, which is very useful. If you don't know what Wide Guard does, it gives you Protect from multi-targeting attacks, so it stops things like Rock Slide, Earthquake, Blizzard, Heat Wave, Dazzling Gleam. Stops all of those attacks. So Wide Guard is a good option as well, although we already have Protect, and we don't really want to double up on that with Protect and Wide Guard. So we'd probably rather this be a coverage move. Mach Punch usually goes first. It has priority, hitting only 40, but with Flame Orb, Guts, Max Invested, Adamant or Brave Nature giving you plus attack, Mach Punch is doing a lot of damage, able to take a lot of KOs from weaker stuff. So essentially you want to Drain Punch first, you heal back up, all your Flame Orb damage, all of the damage that you take, you Drain Punch, and then you Mach Punch, kill something off, and you're looking pretty good then as well. Mach Punch is also very good when you run out of Trick Room turns, or if you don't get to set up Trick Room. Mach Punch is very powerful, giving you priority is really good. And like I said, this could be any of those: Ice Punch, Fire Punch. I had Fire Punch on here initially, just because whatever Pokemon you play with the Conkeldurr could have access to Max Sun, Max Flare, and Set Sun, and then Fire Punch is then Flame Boosted, which is really good. And I believe that's the only thing we're going to be using it for, Fire Punch. It's also very good to have access to Fire Punch for things like Ferrothorn, although we have Drain Punch, which is pretty good against Ferrothorn, but Fire Punch is quad, so it's really good against things like that. And Ferrothorn is a very common Pokemon to just have on a team as an out to Trick Room. So having Fire Punch to out that is pretty good, I would say. So yeah, that's about it for this first set. We'll go into its investments here. It's pretty basic. 252 into HP and 252 into attack. 4 into special defense because it's so lackluster at 65. And then Brave Nature to give plus attack and minus speed. Since we're playing Trick Room, you want to be minus speed as much as possible. So a Hindering Nature and 0 IVs invested into your Conkeldurr. So that's what we have for the first build. It's a Flame Orb, Guts, Trick Room set. It's pretty common, pretty standard. Drain Punch, Mach Punch, Fire Punch, Protect. Protect is a good thing that we have because of Flame Orb. On our next set, we don't get the luxury of playing Protect because we're Assault Vest, but this is the set that you'll use not on a Trick Room team. You'll use Iron Fist and Assault Vest since you're not going to be attacking. So like since Flame Orb gives you such a good buff on the turn with Trick Room, that's what we actually like to do with Assault Vest. Since I'm misconstruing my words. Hold on. Since we don't get to attack first or attack early, we want to use Assault Vest just to live as much, take as little damage as we can, and then Drain Punch, take it all back, heal back up all of that damage. I can't talk today. Iron Fist gives us a really strong Drain Punch, and then max invested into attack, and then we're also adamant. Since we're not playing under Trick Room, we leave our IVs, and we're adamant instead of Hindering Nature, so that we're 65 speed, which isn't amazing, but it outspeeds all of the Pokemon under Trick Room, and then if you can out the Trick Room Pokemon first, and then you bring him in. And it's also just a good check in general against a Trick Room team. You get to outspeed any of their mid to good speed Pokemon under Trick Room. And then once Trick Room goes away, this Pokemon is outspeeding all of their Trick Room Pokemon and being very bulky while doing so because of Assault Vest and some good investments. So another thing that you can keep in mind here is if you wanted to, you could go out of HP and go into Special Defense here so that Assault Vest takes full effect and is very, very powerful. 117 and 115, 1.5 times, or 117, 1.5 times with a pretty good defense and pretty solid HP, original HP. You have a good bit of bulk in this Pokemon, but I just had it like this just because it's more standard, 212. It gives you the chance to Dynamax this Pokemon if you have to, and then you're really, really set. Also, Assault Vest can just patch up your low special defense since it's only 85 with no investments. That's an option as well, or this 86. Ooh, big difference. But yeah, Assault Vest gives this Pokemon a lot of good natural bulk, and that's a good thing that we need with this Pokemon. Because its special defense is so weak, we have to patch it up. Iron Fist is a really good ability since we're not using the Flame Orb, so we don't want to use Guts, we're just using Iron Fist. And then Drain Punch, Mach Punch like the other sets, and then Fire Punch, Ice Punch. We want them to be punching moves, so Ice Punch, it could be Thunder Punch if that's what you need. Whatever coverage you really need. So yeah, that's really it for this set as well. It's the same investments, HP and attack, and Adamant, so that we're a little fast. And then for our last one, we have just Overflow. Like I said, the Wide Guard, Stone Edge, Rock Slide, Poison Jab, Brick Break, Close Combat, Brick Break for screens to knock out, to hit Grimmsnarl and knock out Reflect and Light Screen, or hit the partner Pokemon, whatever Grimmsnarl isn't. That's a good option as well, and a lot of the time they won't really go for a... No, a lot of the time they'll go for like a Thunder Wave into your guy with, to stop the Flame Orb, to negate the Flame Orb. And then we also have an item here, a Life Orb. That's just another common item you'll see on Conkeldurr. You can replace either of these with Life Orb. But I like the Flame Orb, the Guts, and then on the Assault Vest, on the Iron Fist Assault Vest, I like that as well. So I don't really like Life Orb, but it's an option if that's what you want to take. And yeah, these are all just good coverage moves, whatever you want to use. Close Combat is really big. I have this into this. So this is Snorlax, non-maxed, but when it is maxed, so if it doesn't Dynamax, if it goes for like a Belly Drum turn 1, Close Combat is huge. But Drain Punch hits 81 to 95%, and they're only going to be at 88%. So this could knock it out through a Belly Drum, but you're usually going to have to Close Combat. So that's why I have Close Combat here. It knocks out Snorlax usually. And it's actually really good against Curselax as well, since Snorlax is being more played in the meta, and VGC 20 just happened. The rules set just changed for online, for ranked in Sword and Shield, letting you use certain Gmax Pokemon, so you can use Snorlax Gmax now in online on ranked. So keep that in mind when you're using Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr can be really powerful against opposing Snorlaxes, especially the Gmax Snorlax as well. It gets huge, gets a lot of HP, but it takes a turn to Belly Drum first, and if they don't like follow me with a Togekiss or something on the side, then you can just come in with a really strong attack and knock out that Snorlax before it gets to start sweeping you with Belly Drum, with max replenish after the Belly Drum. So that's one thing to keep in mind as well. And then our last little thing here we have is Mimikyu. A lot of this. So first off, with Trick Room, with the Trick Room build, you can just put it on any Trick Room team. So if you're playing like a Hatterene and DD team, you can definitely just slap that on there. Or if you're using something like Dusclops or Bronzong, just to set it and then go in with Rhyperior or Torkoal or anything, you can just play it on any of those teams. It's all the same. You can just put in a Conkeldurr. It's very fast, or it's very fast under Trick Room, and since it's so small speed, and it's very powerful as well. So keep that in mind. And then we also have Mimikyu here, mostly just so some little teams will run a baby Trick Room engine, just Trick Room to be able to knock out, to stop Trick Room, usually on something like a Mimikyu or a Chandelure. And they'll run one Pokemon that can take advantage of Trick Room as well, so that you can turn off Trick Room and then also take advantage of your own Trick Room every now and again. Conkeldurr is a really good Pokemon for that. The Assault Vest, Iron Fist build, being able to be really good in Trick Room against teams that are not Trick Room. And then, so like if your opponent Tailwinds up or Max Airstreams, and then later you want to get a Trick Room off and then use Conkeldurr or a Gastrodon or something on your team, that's a really good option as well. Usually running Chandelure or the Mimikyu, like I was saying, for that. I hope I didn't make that sound really confusing. I feel like I might have, but if you have any questions, just comment them. But yeah, that's really it for Conkeldurr. Really good Pokemon under Trick Room, really good Pokemon not under Trick Room. Mach Punch is really good for your priority attacks. Drain Punch is really good to heal it back up. Iron Fist is awesome for this set, being all... It's essentially a baby Life Orb 1.2 times instead of 1.3 times, and then you get to run Assault Vest, and then for the other one, Flame Orb Guts is really good under Trick Room, since you don't need any thing like Assault Vest, since you're going to be going first a lot of the time. Yeah, that's about it for Conkeldurr. Awesome Pokemon, Anyway, if you like this kind of content, leave a like and subscribe. And comment down below if you want to see any Pokemon in future videos, or if you want to see any teams in other battle videos. I want to get more battle videos out. I'm going to start doing more battle videos very soon. So, yes, thank you for watching, and have a good rest of your life.